I like cities. It's what my channel's about. But some of the things I like the most about cities are the access you get to some of my favorite things. Good transit, baseball, museums, and great food. Specifically, great pizza.
I like pizza a lot. It's been a part of my life since as long as I can remember. And in that way, it is a sort of comfort food. By the time I was in middle school, it became kind of street food. And I remember having like knockdown, drag out arguments in middle school about what place had the best slice, because it was kind of like what we did. We had a couple of dollars in our pocket and we'd get on our bikes and ride to our favorite slice place and get a slice or two of pizza, a can of soda. It was the best time. There's also this sense that like pizza for me is nostalgic. The kind of pizza that I grew up with is what I prefer.
Ever since I left New Jersey for the first time 30 years ago, I've been on the hunt for the best pizza out there. I've had some delights and some disappointments. There's been the top tier, second best in the US in San Francisco, to the very respectable, impossibly thin crust Jersey Shore style, to the great on a drunken night out, to the okay, to the cheeky and irreverent. This was the week that Bourdain died, and if you were a fan of the show, you know why that's funny. To the whatever the heck that was, to very heavy claims.
What are you guys claiming?
I don't know. What are you claiming? Are you in New Jersey right now?
To the, yeah, I like bagels too. To the very mid Orlando. I said mid, fight me. To the barely edible. Last summer we had to go to Anaheim for a work event, but when you live in Orlando, there is zero reason to stay in Anaheim, so we stayed in Oceanside. It's a really convenient location because you get the beach, you get Amtrak and Metrolink trains going north to Anaheim and LA, and you get coaster trains and Amtrak going south to San Diego. So one afternoon, we hopped on a coaster train to enjoy a very scenic ride down to San Diego. And if you've never done it, you've never been to this part of the country before, I highly recommend it. You can obviously drive this part of the coast on the Pacific Coast Highway, but in my opinion, the view from the train is even better because they're double-decker trains. You can sit upstairs, and you can do this on the local coaster train, or you can do it on Amtrak's Pacific Surfliner. So the purpose of the trip down to San Diego was to see the Aquabats. But since we were in town anyway, we made it a point to pop into Tribute Pizza, but not before enjoying some street art.
Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know?
It's Bush League Sega stuff. Laughable, man.
I made it a point to get to Tribute because they're on this list. Granted, it's not the be-all and end-all of pizza, but if you look at their US rankings and their global rankings, they're pretty consistent. Plus, I've been to a few of these places already, and I know that even if the rankings aren't perfect, that all of these places are making extremely high-caliber pizza. I guess I was expecting a traditional Neapolitan before we got there, and you could order that, but what we got reminded me of home so much. I really like this place. I haven't tried all the top 50 pizza places, but I think I might rank this a little bit higher than number 36.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
And on top of being amazing, it was fast, the staff was super friendly, and just the whole vibe was unpretentious. And, you know, it should be. It's pizza. If you're not having fun, then what are you doing? So last month I was back in New Jersey and took a ride to Bricko. So this is the Patco high-speed line. It's the Port Authority Transit Company. The Delaware River Port Authority owns 4 of the bridges across the Delaware River. And this rail line is primarily funded through toll revenue, and in my opinion is one of the better transit routes in the entire country. It's 24/7 service, 365 days a year. You get a little like a 90-minute gap overnight between trains, but that's it. And here's where I should probably point out that I've looked over this top 50 list, and all of them except maybe 1 or 2 are transit accessible. So I'm still looking into it, but maybe challenge accepted. I'm going to try to get to every one of these on transit if it's possible. And Bricko's maybe, I don't know, I walk kind of fast. It was like a 7-8 minute walk from the train. So Bricko is definitely coal-fired, lots of char on the crust. That's not your vibe, maybe skip it, but it was delicious. I am definitely going back there. And this is easily the most walkable part of South Jersey, and you can see. I mean, I'm out in the suburbs. It's 7:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and it's freezing. And I passed 3-4 people just in a 1-block span. I mean, the access to Philadelphia is really unbeatable. So this is the Patco High Speed Line, and this is also sort of the predecessor to all of the second era subways, like the Great Society subway building. Patco was first, and then you got BART, MARTA, Miami Metro, DC Metro, Baltimore Metro. And most of those trains in those other cities look really similar. The only reason that the Patco line is different is because the cars had to be smaller because they're using a pre-existing tunnel in Philadelphia from the 1920s. And this route runs from Center City, Philadelphia in the Rittenhouse Square area east into New Jersey, where it connects with the Atlantic City Rail Line. The ride over the bridge has great views, better than what you can get in a car. The best view is actually to get in the last seat in the last car as you're leaving the city. You see a lot more of the skyline that way because the bridge isn't blocking your view. But it's best done in the daytime to avoid the glare of the lights inside the train. This next place is a short walk from the Girard Avenue stop on the L.
8th Market.
Just transferring to the L on our way to Pizzeria Beddia, third best pizza in the US. I'm psyched. Let's go.
Pizzeria Bedia is at 1313 North Lee Street in between Front and 2nd. It's in a cool old converted space that's probably had many lives over the years. We didn't make reservations, which could have been a mistake because they were completely booked, but we got there early enough that we were able to grab seats at the bar. There is a large outside patio that's open, like they don't take reservations out there, and it's covered and it's mostly enclosed. They had just opened when we got there, but after about a half hour, they had turned on the heat lamps out on the patio, and it was actually pretty nice and toasty. I did not look at the menu before going, but they have a few selections for salads and appetizers and a simple 5-pie menu. We got the roasted veggies with Caesar dressing, which is great, but it's kind of heavy. Definitely got winter vibes going on there, and might be something that they only have seasonally anyway. They also have draft old fashions. Genius. This pie was, and I'm recording this a month later and I'm still trying to get my head around it. It looked like the kind of pie that I grew up with in New Jersey, and actually, now that I think about it, so did the one at Tribute. But it also had this fresh mozz on it, like it was a traditional Neapolitan style margarita, but with the crust dialed up to 10, light and airy like you'd expect from a Neapolitan. The sauce threw me off, and I think it was mostly because we had Bricco the night before, and the sauce at Bricco seemed sweeter and more acidic at the same time, in a really good way. But at Beddia, it was more mellow, with more of an umami vibe going on. Heading back to New Jersey, it was a little later, so I was paying more attention to the shenanigans on the L. But then, there's also the funny stuff that happens, like this dude running to catch his train, because the system was never really planned as one complete system, And it's been modified so much over the years that it's not intuitive. Even when you live there, if it's a station you're not used to using, you can wind up taking the wrong stairs. But you'll notice that these four dudes on the platform are up to no good. And if you had any questions about it, you'll see they never get on the train. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that it's always been like that. I just notice it more now because it's not part of the background of my life anymore. I also should add here that I was here with my family and was never concerned for our safety, nor was I too concerned to take out my camera and gimbal. It also wouldn't be a trip on the L without a bunch of trash on the floor and at least one unfinished Wawa iced tea. Not that Philly subways never have problems, and clearly the social insecurity is evident, but there are just not a lot of unpredictable people like what I've experienced on the LA Metro, for example. So the L connects with Patco at 8th and Market. If you're transferring from the L to Patco, you basically just walk downstairs. We decided to get off at 11th Street, take a walk through the gallery, which I think is called the Fashion District now or something silly. So we did a little clothes shopping at the gallery, and then we headed a few blocks south to pick up some Federal Donuts because why not? This is at 13th and Sansom? Ludlow? I can't remember. If you ever thought about having donuts with a subtle fried chicken note, this is your spot. Like they're really delicious, and like when you go there and get them, they're hot. I don't regularly eat donuts, but whenever I'm near this place, I just kind of have to go. So we got our donuts, we headed back over the bridge and decided to stop in Collingswood to meet up with some friends. And Bricko is in Westmont, and then Collingswood is one stop closer to Philadelphia. So this is like a 14 minute ride from the city. Every year, Thanksgiving weekend, they have a Christmas tree lighting in Collingswood, and Santa comes down like a fire truck ladder from the top of Borough Hall. It's pretty, it's a whole scene. It's a lot of fun. We have some friends who live in town, so it's kind of become a routine of ours to meet up with them. I'm Jim. This is Urban Legends. I hope you have a great new year.